What's going on, guys? Welcome to This is the World Christian Podcast. This is episode 2. My name is Michelle. This is my co-host Jasmynne, and we are so welcome to have you here on episode 2. Last week was amazing. We got a lot of love from you guys, a lot of new subs. Welcome in. We can't wait to share some more stories and interactions with you guys. So let's go ahead and get episode 2 started. All right, so a top official with the World Economic Forum has called for religious scripture to be rewritten by an AI to create a globalized new Bible. So a senior advisor to the World Economic Forum, he goes by the name of Yuval Noah Harari, and he is the chairman to Klaus Schwab, argues that using AI to replace scriptures will create unified religions that are actually correct. Yikes. All right, so as you guys can see, it says Harari, an influential author and professor, made the call while giving a talk on the future of humanity. So according to Harari, the power of AI can be harnessed and used to reshape spirituality into the West's globalist vision of equity and inclusivism. And with speaking with journalists, Harari told the elitist audience, it's the first technology ever that can create new ideas. You know, the printing press, radio, television, they broadcast, they spread the ideas created by the human brain, by the human mind. They cannot create a new idea. Then he goes on to say, you know, Johannes Gutenberg printed the Bible in the middle of the 15th century. The printing press printed as many copies of the Bible as Gutenberg instructed it, but it did not create a single new page. It had no ideas of its own about the Bible. Is it good? Is it bad? How to interpret this? How to interpret that? Harari then revealed that he and his allies at the WEF have a solution to the supposed problems he just highlighted. AI can create new ideas. It can even write a new Bible. And throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. Just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI that could be a reality in a few years. Wow. Yikes. Okay. So well, what are your thoughts on the AI correct religion Bible, as they're going to call it?
Right. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is the Tower of Babel and how we kept trying to supersede God. We got to a place of arrogance. And you know, obviously he scattered us and put us in our place.
Yeah.
But we kept popping up. Like we get to a point in humanity where we think that we're God. It happened with the Romans. It happened with the Egyptians, you know, all of these, you know, points in history where God has to continue to humble us. So we've gotten to the point where we think that we can just rewrite God's word because we have once again gotten to the point of arrogance. Yeah. We are in the age of pride, which is interesting that one of the biggest movements in our culture is called pride, but that's kind of what I'm seeing with this story. Like, well, we're actually going to correct the record, and we, or the AI, is so much smarter than God.
Yeah, it's so weird because the first thing out of their mouth was creating a correct religion, right? As if like Christianity is wrong to them. I think this is more so. I think, first of all, I think AI is evil. I'm going to just say it like right now. I've never liked it. It's extremely evil. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos. It looks like fever dreams. Like if somebody says make a movie trailer of somebody did a Gatsby type video. They're like, make a Gatsby type movie trailer. And it was just one big fever dream. And then they can never get the hands right. The hands are always like multiple fingers. So like hands are looking like this. And their eyes just look dead and soulless. They don't look like people. It's really weird. It's really weird. There's a guy we know where he was talking about ChatGPT, and he said he trained it how to be his therapist. And I'm like, sir, that's insane. How can you train a robot to be your therapist? There's no human emotion attached to that. Like at this way, especially you had to train it. So like, You're essentially teaching this to tell you what you want to hear. That's not truly therapy. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I don't know if I think that AI is evil as much as I think it's a tool, and can be used for evil and for good. So kind of like,
Okay.
I take the position of the internet, for example. I don't think
Yeah.
the internet in itself is evil, but I think it can be used for evil, or weapons. I don't think that the weapons themselves are evil. They're tools.
Yeah.
And I think in the hands of the wrong people, they can be used for very sinister reasons. And I think this story with the AI creating a Bible, or people wanting it to create a Bible, this is a powerful tool in the hands of people who want world dominance, who want to be God.
Yeah. That's true. That is a good way to put that, because people do say the same thing about money. They say money's the root of all evil. And it's like, well, technically, it's how you use the money. Because God never said we can't have it. He never said we can't be rich. It's how you go about obtaining it and using it.
Yeah, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. So
Yeah.
I always, for some reason, I always thought it was that money is the root of all evil, but it's actually the love of money.
That's true. That's a good way to put AI then. Because they're using it. The fact that they're trying to create a whole new correct religion Bible, that's pushing more people away from God. So that's evil in itself, right? And then also, if I didn't show the whole article, it's a pretty long article, but they also get into more about the AI, where they're saying their whole goal isn't to create killer robots to kill off like humanity, but they want humans to like kill off themselves with the things that they're going to create. And their whole goal is to actually create a smaller population. And this is one of the things they're going to create to kind of push that forward. So yeah, this is definitely evil, but it's in the hands of evil people. So
Right. Isn't it funny how this global elitism that's taking over, and that, we understand at least one major interpretation of Revelation is that there's going to be a one world government, and the beast is going to be the leader of this government. And all of the signs are pointing towards this global elitism that we see today. I don't know that this is going to be the iteration of humanity that goes through the tribulation, but this is the one that is setting up all the framework for it, like this AI and this this submission, and this idea that we're leading everyone to death instead of life. It's always that. It's always that, because God is life. He is the creator of life. And so his antithesis will always be death. And every time one of these governments pop up, these tyrannical superpowers, which is kind of what we're seeing now, this like global elitist superpower, it's always in the direction of death, which is really on the nose.
Yeah, because that's all the World Economic Forum is. I don't know. It is so weird. I don't know where they came from. I don't know why they're allowed to call the shots and like basically run everything, because they keep making these plans for humanity. They're like, oh yeah, we want humanity's population to drop to a certain size by a certain time frame. We want to make cars go down to a certain amount of cars in the world by a certain time frame. We want the one world government, right? We want everybody to be on the one digital currency path by a certain time frame. And now they're adding their religion, apparently, because this sounds like they're trying to create a religion, because this ain't Christianity. This isn't Judaism. This isn't Islam. They're about to create something brand new that they think is correct. And they're using AI to create this. So I don't know why they get to be in charge. Because it ain't our president, obviously. It ain't all the other people's presidents and prime ministers. Whoever this group is, I don't know what it is, but they're literally leading us down like the wrong path.
Yeah.
All of this, like you said, all of this screams revelation.
It really does. And I used to be very much like into the Left Behind series. So just plus the rhetoric you would hear in, Christian circles about, oh, this is it. This
Oh
is
yeah.
the rapture. So I'm a little bit more cautious about that line of thinking now. I think I'm approaching Revelation with a more of a symbolic interpretation. But of course, there is going to be an end time, and there is going to
Yes.
be, a one world system led by the Antichrist. These things are going to happen. And so therefore, you can take the symbolism, but the meat and potatoes is still there. We are going to have an elitist class that does not submit to Christ and is hostile to Christians. Whether it's this AI generation, this inception of AI, I don't know, but I could see it happening. I could see it.
Yeah, I can see it too. Because we already see the persecution of Christians happening around the world. And it's like, because we're from the United States, so it's starting here as well. So not too long ago, the FBI had the Catholics on like the hit list. You know what I'm saying? They said the rosary was some crazy weapon that had to be, that you can look for. And then that turned into just Christians as a whole are dangerous. So now Christians are now synonymous with like alt right wing racist white supremacist. It's like, what are you talking about? That's not even the same thing in the slightest. And then we're also, because speaking on AI, we're now getting to the point, because you already know churches, not every church, but there are corrupt churches out there. And there's a church, I think it's in Germany, where they had their first service and it was written by ChatGPT, like the whole 40-minute service. And they also had like an AI figure video speaking it. And a bunch of people came down to the church to watch it for the first time. And I was like, that's another corrupted church. That's they're fallen.
Right. And I'm hesitant to blame the AI. It's once again, it's that tool being used by humanity and their corruption and their laziness. You don't want to do the work as ministers to actually reach people, to consult the Holy Spirit. So you just kind of chat GPT it up and see what happens. It's gross. It's actually really gross.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you ready for the AI one world correct religion? You ready for that Bible? Do you think it's evil? Or do you think AI outside of this, do you think AI can be used for good? Because I think it can, but you did touch on the whole laziness thing. It is making some people lazy. It is, but let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and maybe your comment will get picked for next week's video. All right, guys, if you're ready to read and learn from the actual Bible and not this one world AI created correct Bible nonsense, check out a channel right here on YouTube. It's titled Bible Project. What they do over at Bible Project, they break everything down for you in an awesome animated way. It's easy to understand, easy to comprehend. Like, they take all the books from the Old Testament and the New Testament and they break it down in such easy, digestible, animated pieces. It's a wonderful way to learn the Bible and can be even used as study aids after you read some things on your own. So make sure to go check out Bible Project right here on YouTube. The link will be in the description box down below. All right, guys. So last week we asked you a bunch of questions, and today we're going to be answering a few of them, starting now with the first one that you see on the screen. This is from Jason Coomer, and he says the sheep are now unwittingly becoming the wolves. The people who run the show have revealed who they are. Ignore this fact at your own peril. I'm pretty sure this comment is for the Chosen segment of last week's episode. Now, when he says the sheep are now unwittingly becoming the wolves, I'll be real with you. I don't know if he's talking about us or if he's talking about the showrunners over at the Chosen. I don't know who he's referencing.
I'm not sure. It's not clear. But what is clear is the second statement. The people who run the show have revealed who they are. Ignore this fact at your own peril. I don't know that we agree on the premise. I don't think that the people running the show are these wolves that you're saying that they are, because that's kind of the implication that I'm getting.
Okay.
I just don't see that. I really don't see that. I understand the criticisms.
Yeah.
But to attribute malice, I don't have enough evidence to believe that. And somebody might take that and be like, well, you're just in denial. Well, I just disagree with you. I'm sorry. I just do.
I find it interesting because he said the people who run the show have revealed who they are to you. I'm curious because I've heard this before, like numerous times through every scandal that The Chosen has ever gone through. So does he mean just this time with the flag? Or does he mean every time, whatever the controversy was at that point in time, they've revealed themselves, that he's just repeating himself now? That's what I want to know. I want to know if he's just repeating himself, or it's like, we know who they are because of the flag.
Yeah, and if it's based on the flag situation, I just think that's kind of, I don't agree. I'm taking, and maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm kind of taking Dallas Jenkins at his word. I really don't think that I have no indication to believe that he believes in the Pride movement or even supports it. I really do think that he doesn't feel like he should be policing people's personal camera equipment. Now, I will say, because I've done a lot of reflection since seeing some of the comments that have come through, like I genuinely don't want to just be a fangirl of the show and then, just ignore reality. That's not my jam. I don't typically do that. So I didn't want to do that here either.
Okay.
One of the strongest arguments against this whole pride flag controversy, in my opinion, is the fact that it was left in the final promotional video, and it made it through the quality control of the editing process. That, I don't know that I can blame Dallas Jenkins for that, but that is something that was a huge mistake. I don't think it was malicious on Dallas's part. Like, I don't think he has some kind of secret pride agenda. I just don't see it like that.
Yeah. As somebody who had a media company, I promise you it could have just been in the most easiest oversight in the world, because like he said, he doesn't police people's equipment. So they're used to seeing independent contractor stuff all the time, right? So if they're used to seeing that stuff on set and they're not even worried about it, they're worried about the actual story, that could have been an easy editing oversight, whoever was editing it, because they probably just so used to it being there. So it could have just been as simple as that as well. Like you said, I don't think it was malicious either. All right, our next comment is from Jan Elliott, and it says, the censors would not let me tell you about the element of the TQ plus that is really alienating people from the LGBTQ community. Suffice it to say, the LGB need to leave the LGBTQ immediately. Who do you think is paying to make sure the information doesn't get out? It's not gays or lesbians, it's sexual abusers, especially of kids. I'll be real with you. I've heard this statement quite a lot, especially from gay people. They'll be like, hey, the TQ needs to leave us alone because they're making us look bad and they're ruining the movement and yada, 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 right? But years ago, when the LGB, when it just used to be 3 letters, was originally fighting for their rights to get married, right? It was said at that point in time, it was like, this is about to be a slippery slope into a whole bunch of nonsense, and nobody wanted to hear that. They were like, no, we just want the same rights as married people and blah, blah, blah. And I remember at the time when, what's the singer's name?
Bono? Is Bono okay? I don't
know.
Bono? Elton John?
Yes, that's his name. That's his name. So at this point in time, because Elton John, he's gay. So he was like, instead of wanting to have this right of us getting married in churches and all that, we could just get like a civil union marriage, And even they like got on him, his own community was just like, how dare you say that? And, you know, he ended up changing his mind and going with the crowd after the fact. But originally he was just like, that ain't for us. We can get this and have like the same rights or whatever. And they really fought him on that. And everybody kept saying this is going to be a slippery slope because, as we know in the Bible, this is an abomination. That's really all this is. What has this led to? Not only is there like 50 billion new letters added to this like whole word, right? You had Pride Day. Now it's like half the year. And now you have like pedos attaching themselves to you. And now nobody likes y'all. We're at the point now where it's June, right? The rainbow is usually shoved down our throats like crazy. You've had businesses, it then took like between the first 1 and 4 days, businesses was taking the rainbow flag off. And
even
then you have
Starbucks.
Yeah, they removed it recently. And now you have businesses that didn't even participate this year. They like, nah, we good. We good. Like this, that slippery slope they was talking about.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And as a Christian who really believes that the Bible is inherently against homosexuality, I'm not a Christian that twists scripture to make it fit my ideology in this regard or in any regard. I really try to be honest with it. But I do have compassion somewhat for gay people who are, let me not even say gay people who are struggling with same-sex attraction, who feel alienated now by their own community. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel bad for them. Like, I know that there's the whole Gays Against Groomers Twitter account, for example. Yeah. But I absolutely agree with you. This was all an argument in 2014, 2015 when we were discussing whether this should be the new definition of marriage. And everything was pointing to, or everybody would say, well, love is love. Love is love. Love is love. But since we want to remove definitions from their roots, which love, the creator of love is God. And love, you can't just like redefine what love is.
Well, they didn't define it. They didn't define it. They just said love is love. It's like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, what is love? What is marriage? We just change it to anything. I don't know. So even though I feel bad for them, I also, it's kind of like, well, we tried to tell you.
Right? We did. They just didn't listen. Also, they need to give us our rainbow back. God gave that to us. That was a covenant with Noah, and y'all took it. All right. Our next comment of the day is from Daniel Youngblood. It says, it's hilarious to me how even in the 21st century, Christians are crapping themselves over witchcraft. Like, bro, did you people not get enough ish for Salem? LMAO. It's even funnier for me, who's neither Christian nor takes witchcraft seriously. It's like watching two nerds debate whether Naruto is better than One Piece or vice versa. Sir, let me tell you, Naruto is better. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I just have a question for you, honestly. You said you're neither Christian and you also don't take witchcraft seriously. How did you find this podcast and why did you watch so long? Because this is definitely in reference to the Disney segment. The Disney segment starts at the 28-minute, 15-second marker, and it literally goes on for the next 20 minutes. Sir, you sound like a fan to me. Like, you may claim you're not Christian, but something in you wanted to hear some Christian content. It's reaching out. It's like, feed me. I need some of that light, some of that goodness. And then the demon in you was like, I can't take this. And you wrote your comment.
Yeah, I don't get that one. It's kind of like, okay, hey, I used to be an atheist, so I understand from that worldview why it's completely asinine to you that we're having this discussion. But when you are Christian and you understand like true reality, then you start to realize that actually You probably should take witchcraft seriously because they take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And so and they're not coming from a holy place. So yeah, you probably should take it seriously. I don't know. Just my
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, I used to be an atheist too, but like, I promise you, I would have never watched 50 minutes of a podcast about Christian content. I would have never made it that far. But Daniel, you welcome here, bro. So, hopefully you're watching this episode. We'd love to get your comment for next time. All right, this is from Mark Simpson. He says, what really comes over in The Chosen is love and acceptance, and that's so powerful, especially to the marginalized, like nothing else can. Aw,
That was nice.
that was sweet.
I
Thank you, Mark.
appreciate you, Mark Simpson, not only for this awesome comment, but you seem you also comment a lot on Bold Reflections, which is my channel, and I really appreciate your viewership. And so does saying we're glad you're here. And yeah, that's kind of why a lot of the hate that is a lot. Oh, let me put it like this: right now, Dallas Jenkins and The Chosen are getting a lot of arrows flung at them. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
and most of them are from Christians. And that is super disappointing to me, because a lot of them, maybe they watched it, maybe they watched some of it, maybe they watched none of it. But one of the things that is so well done in this production is love. I don't know about the acceptance part of this statement. It depends on what you mean by acceptance, because we hear that word a lot and I don't like it anymore. But just because it's so associated with LGBTQ AI plus.
Better than me.
But anyways, yeah. So anyway, that's a great comment.
Yeah. All right, our next one's from Just a Girl. So she actually watches both our channels outside of the podcast channel. She says, The Chosen controversy is the perfect example of sometimes the best response is no response. If the actors had just kept their mouths shut, this would have blown over in a day or two, because not many people care about the political views of the cameraman. Instead, we were told like it or leave, and a lot of us, myself included, were like, okay, bye. She got the little deuces symbol. I think I mentioned this last week because I did say the actors' responses was horrible. I definitely think they should have not responded, period. I think the Chosen's their Twitter response was fine. And Dallas's 20-minute response, it didn't have to be 20 minutes long because he really just kept repeating himself a lot. But I thought his response was fine too. And I think when he got to the point, so at the end where she said, when she was told, we were told like it or leave it. He was kind of fed up in that video when he said it at that point, because he also mentioned, because of all the controversy since The Chosen first came out, I guess he's used to people leaving, so that he did frustratingly mention that in that video. So I could see her as a viewer, if you're watching that and he's just like, you know what, y'all like it, bounce, and you're just like, all right, sir, goodbye. Like, I get why she left. It's a fair reason to leave. But I do agree with her. The actors should have kept their mouth shut, because I think I did mention that last week.
The actors definitely damage control at that point. Like, just please stop tweeting. But yeah. But I think Dallas was actually, I think he was right to come out and address it, because if he hadn't addressed it, that would have been even worse for people, I think.
Yeah. I think he's in a lose-lose situation regardless.
Yeah.
I think no matter what happened, people were going to be mad, because it seems like that with everything that happens with that show. Christians just get mad at him regardless. So he wasn't going to win that anyways.
Right.
All right, guys, this is our last comment we're going to address this week. It's a very long one, so maybe we'll break this up into sections due to the length of it. It's from Creative Spark, and they said, this video popped up when I was searching for videos about Christian Prince debates. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to look up who that was because I didn't know what they were talking about. I guess he's an author. I guess he does like apologetics types books, essentially. This is my first time watching this channel. Welcome to the channel. At around 4:49 into the video, the woman in the pink shirt says she is a big fan of The Chosen. She thinks it is very well done, and that they were being the world of the, I think they meant bring, and that they bring the world of the Bible to life. So she's talking about you so far. Because of Pink Shirt Woman's praise of The Chosen show, I am questioning if she has actually read the 4 Gospels in the New Testament or any other books in the Bible. All right, well, we can ask you right now, Jasmine, have you read the Gospels of Jesus
I
Christ?
have. Yes, I have.
Hey, I figured we ask you.
I don't have a pink shirt, but that was me.
The Chosen is extremely loosely based on the Bible. I don't know if you said it or if somebody said it in one of my live streams, but one of you said that before the show starts, there's like a screen up that says it's like based on the Gospels and that you should read the Bible on your own. Is that true?
I think so, but I don't
Okay.
know exactly what that message says. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That means okay, it was somebody else in the chat said it then. But if that's true, that means the show is telling you outright that, you know, it's loosely based on the story and you should read it on your own to gain understanding. So if that's true, they kind of telling you on their own from the beginning. I am not a big fan of The Chosen, but I did watch it to arm myself. I watched it to have knowledge about the show so that I can be knowledgeable when I explain to others the differences between the show and the Bible when the topic comes up. All right, nothing wrong with that. My personal belief is that I or anyone else cannot analyze, criticize, rebuke, or compare The Chosen show with God's word without having watched it. All right, fair point. Nothing wrong with that. I agree with that. Everyone involved in the production is definitely talented, and the story the producers/writers wrote is told well. However, the story The Chosen tells is not of Jesus Christ of the Bible. The Chosen is very loosely based on the Bible, and much of the storyline, character personalities, even many events that take place are not biblically based, do not happen in the Bible. In fact, I think there are people who are Catholics and Mormons who act in and help to fund The Chosen, so it is not surprising to see that a pride flag was shown on set. It is also not surprising there was a pride flag because there are a few actors who set off my gaydar when I watched the show. Okay, let's move it back a little bit. I think there are people who are Catholics and Mormons who act in and help to fund The Chosen. So it's not surprising that there's a pride flag on set. Okay, so every Catholic I know feel the same way we do about gay people and pride and all that, so they wouldn't be happy that that's on set, even if funding. Mormons, I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know any Mormons in real life. I do have one of their Bibles because one of them came to my doorstep and gave me a Mormon Bible. So I have one, but even in there, it doesn't say they accept pride or the flag or the alphabet community. So I don't know why you think that would be acceptable if funders of the show are Catholic and Mormon.
See, that criticism is one that has come up a lot and that Dallas has addressed, and conservative Christians have not liked or accepted Dallas's response to the fact that Mormons and Catholics, I guess, I haven't really heard the Catholic thing that much, but that they fund the show. And it's, to me, it's like, who cares? Like, as long as you know what the truth is. So, and this is a huge debate between, the Christian circles as to Catholicism being a heresy or the true church or somewhere in between.
Yeah,
right? We know that.
Yeah, that's true.
However, Mormons, they have some pretty deviant beliefs as far as when you compare them to Christianity, where, like you said, Catholicism really lines up. I'm not going to get into all of that, but that seems like a weird point of contention with him, because it's like, I think we had another comment that was like, you will know them by their fruits. You will know them by their fruits. How many stories have come out of people wanting to know Jesus more because they saw The Chosen? How many people have gotten saved? Actually, the actor who plays Zebedee, he was not a Christian, and now he is a Christian because of The Chosen.
Did we talk about that last week?
Did I mention that? I don't know.
Yeah. One of us mentioned it where we were like, how do you not know that an unbeliever working on set isn't going to become a believer because they're working on set? I think we mentioned that last week.
Mm-hmm.
One of us said that. And I think Dallas also mentioned in that 20-minute video near the end, he was like, people keep mentioning we're Mormon, we're not Mormon. And I was like, all right, bro. Like, because I don't know all the controversies. I know there's been a lot because I don't watch the show. But the way he said that in that video, I was like, all right, sir, I believe you.
You seem very passionate about this.
Yeah, he was fed up. He was super done. But and then also this right here, there's a few actors that set off my gaydar. It's like, that's kind of unfair. Unless somebody actually comes out as gay, you can't say they're gay. That's an unfair assumption to make on somebody. All right, let's get to their last point. Or should I say their last paragraph? They said, I personally do not believe that The Chosen has anything to do with promoting Christianity and or Jesus or bringing people to Jesus. Well, you just debunked that. It is all about money. Just look at all of the mega churches around the world raking in millions and or billions each a year. There is demand for entertainment like The Chosen amongst the lukewarm Christians and even non-believers who are curious about Jesus. The producers and all involved with The Chosen are there simply for the big money. You know what's interesting about this? They think it's all about the money. Ever since The Chosen has come out, they've actually made less and less money each year because of all the controversies and stuff, and people keep leaving and not wanting to fund and support the show anymore. So they're definitely not making money. I guess in the grand scheme of things, if an average person looks at it, so let's break this down real quick. Let's do numbers. First year, when it came out, they did 49 million, which is amazing for a Christian production, right? The actual net profit after that was like half. So it was 25 million. And then you still got to pay taxes and all that other crap. So, you know, whatever. But we just gonna say 25 million, right? Do you know the next year it went down to like half that? And then the year after it was like half that. So they're not making, it ain't going up. So it's definitely not about the money, because if it was, I think they would have got it together by now. This other part, the fact that they say it's entertainment for lukewarm Christians, I can't really agree with that if there's a thing at the very beginning that tells you, like, this is loosely based off of the Gospels. Please read the Bible on your own. It's telling you to read the Bible. I don't think, that's just me personally. It's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? You can only do so much with like 30-minute runtime or hour runtime. When I'm just saying that because you have movies, you have TV shows. So if you're trying to tell certain stories, things might have to get cut, swapped, switched, whatever. It's the entertainment world. Like, somebody made a good point yesterday. They were like, you know how many movies it is based on Noah's story? And mind you, we're not even getting the whole story, because I pointed that out to them too. We only go to a certain point, right? We get to the flood, they're in the boat, it's the end, it's the rainbow, boom, movie done. We got credits. We never go after that, right? Movies don't ever touch that far. So if you have to figure out personalities for people, because once again, we only know so much from the Gospels, right? So you kind of have to figure out what people's personalities were if you're trying to now make 30-minute episodes or 40 or however long it is, right? You kind of have
like 45 minutes to an hour. And
yeah,
there's
like
3 seasons right now. So like, how do you stretch that out?
Yeah, like you have to figure all of that out. It's entertainment at the end of the day. Nothing's ever going to replace your Bible. Like just read your Bible if that's what it is. And then this part just don't make no sense. They said it's a demand for entertainment from non-believers who are curious about Jesus. I promise you, a non-believer does not care about The Chosen. I promise you 100% they do not care. They're not searching this out. they're not like, oh yeah, let me check that out Sunday night when the new episodes drop. They do not care. I promise you, it's not for them. It's not for them in the slightest.
We can only be so lucky that a production like The Chosen, as well done as it is, with God being presented in the beautiful way that he's being presented, although it's not perfect, that it's reaching non-believers. And I do believe it's reaching some non-believers, but you're right, the vast majority are lost. And what are we doing as Christians? What are we doing? We're calling each other lukewarm because some of us want to support The Chosen. Yeah. You don't have to watch The Chosen. I don't think you're a bad Christian because you choose not to watch The Chosen, but that's needlessly adversarial.
But no, we talked about it earlier. I think some Christians have like lost their way when it comes to preaching and evangelizing because they've just been Christian for so long. So everything is simply black and white. And I think there's more nuance than that. And the only reason I'm saying that is because me and you used to be atheists, right? Somebody planted a seed in us. They had to, like, things had to happen however they happened in both of our lives for us to be here right now talking about the Bible and stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you just imagine if that never happened? This wouldn't be a thing right now. We would have never met. It just would have never happened. And I think what they have to understand, you have to go into dark places sometimes. The most people being upset because they're like, how can you let gay people work on the set? Why not have a full Christian production? Maybe that gay person was the best cameraman for the job. Because I promise you, if I'm running a production company, yes, I don't care what you identify as religion-wise. Do you know how to work that camera? All right, I need somebody who knows how to work an RE and got the lenses, the bodies, all that. You got that? Cool. Come on over. Let me see your demo reel. Oh, it's fire. Come on in, right? Because at the end of the day, they around all this all day. I don't think people understand. I said this. Production sets, you're there for 12 to 16 hours in a day. They gonna hear something. Like they life, the seed gonna get planted. It may not change them in that moment. Maybe 5 years later, they not on that set no more. And maybe it's like, it just hits them. It's like, boom, something happens in their life. And they be like, oh yeah, I remember that story. And I remember Jesus. And I remember this and that. Let me look into that. It can happen. Just because we plant the seed, we might not be the person that waters it. It may be somebody else's job to water what was planted. But you can never get to that point if we just stay in the light all day. If we just keep staying in the light with each other, how are we evangelizing and sharing the story? So to also look at that and be mad and be like, it's just for the lukewarms and the non-believers. Okay. And don't you want them to be changed and brought over like you were?
Right. And it's like, I think I mentioned this last time where it's kind of like the Pharisees, you know? I'm not calling this commenter a Pharisee. Okay. I'm not. But there's parallels in the responses of Christians with this chosen controversy and the Pharisees, because it's like, you chosen production team and lukewarm Christians and non-believers who would watch this, you guys aren't holy like I am. Like, I have armed myself ready to point out the differences. And it's like, you kind of sound like one of those people from Jesus's time where it's like, you know,
yeah,
I don't know if that's the intention, you know, not to say that it's okay to affirm LGBTQ. We mentioned this last time. Yeah, both of us on our channel are very publicly opposed to it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that sentiment. Like, it's okay if you watch The Chosen. You're not a bad Christian. It's not that you haven't read your Bible because, you know, you like The Chosen and you think it's a beautiful show about Jesus. Like, what? I don't get that.
Yeah, until they actually have him being gay or something, and they're like, we followed the Queen James Bible for this. I don't think anything's wrong with it. Now, you want to talk about some like heresy type stuff and not following the correct thing. Like, go to Transformation Church and listen to Mike Todd and Tim Ross. Straight like nonsense come out of their mouths. So they change. I don't think they read a Bible a day in their lives. So
they got that chat. They got that Chat GPT sermon going.
You know what I'm saying? It's I got that bread in my pocket. That bread in my pockets. That's straight crazy. That's the stuff Christians should be mad about. I feel like that's like anger as a whole should be going to those type of things. I feel like this is kind of petty and nonsensical. All right, y'all. That was all the questions from last week. We're going to be doing it again next week with all the questions that's left on this video. So if you get lucky, we might be pulling your question for next time. All right, guys, after the podcast, make sure you go check out Jasmynne's channel. It's called Bold Reflections YT right here on YouTube. She basically discusses topics about life, faith, and culture through a Christ-focused perspective. Everything you're getting from her here, you're going to get way more over on her channel. She's done interviews with people. It's awesome. When you get the chance, hit the link in the description box down below and go check her channel out. You will not regret it. All right, so last year, Matt Walsh dropped a documentary, a really good one, by the way, titled What is a Woman? And in that documentary, we saw a woman anonymously tell her story being Lia Thomas's teammate. If you guys don't know who Lia Thomas is, it's a guy that transitioned into a woman. He was a swimmer. He essentially sucked. He was a crappy male swimmer. He was ranked 462nd as a man swimmer, right? Couldn't make it. Told the team, like, hey, guys, my name's Lia now, and I'm going to be swimming on the girls' team. And now he's just breaking all types of women's records because it's a guy at the end of the day. So this woman was anonymously told her story in the documentary and just recently came out last week on Matt Walsh's show. And her name is Paula Scanlon. And she gave her story, like, visibly out now because her teammate Riley Gaines already been out there like fighting for women's rights in athletics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually play the first 2 minutes of her speaking so you guys can see her and hear what she has to say, and then we're going to talk about it.
Actually, one of the girls, very upset. She went crying to the athletic department, and I don't know what they said to her, but she then was completely on board and thought Lia swimming was like this magical, beautiful thing. Like, is there something wrong with me for thinking that this is wrong? It worked. The university wanted us to be quiet and they did it in a very effective way. Like, there was something going on in that athletic department that wanted to keep us quiet. And I was like, this is getting scary.
So Paula, last time I spoke to you was we were making What is a Woman? You looked a little different on camera anyway, very shadowy and dark. And now we can see who you are. So what made you decide to speak out publicly?
So the biggest thing for me has just been, I thought maybe if I waited a year or however much time that I vent these feelings I felt, unfairness, this is not the truth, this is not just, would go away. And they never really did. And I just spent this last year just kind of living vicariously through, Riley's going and doing these great things. She's going to accomplish all these things we need to have done. And she's made great strides, but I am still feeling so passionately about this that I want to join her. And I know that the more voices we have, and I'm hoping even more people will speak out, the more voices we have, the more powerful this will be. So that's really where I am. I'm ready now. I think, this is a really big cause and one of the biggest things I can be a part of. And it's not just about me. It's not just about Riley. It's about fighting for women and girls across the country. And I think that's who I'm here for.
So that's kind of the end. We started at the end. We'll get back to that, but let's go all the way back to the beginning. I'm curious, when did you first find out about just the issue of that males might compete against you as a female athlete? Do you remember when you first found out about that?
It was the fall of 2019, at the very beginning of my sophomore year of college. We had a team meeting. Actually, the meeting was led by a member of the men's team at the time, Will Thomas, who informed the women's team that Will Thomas, they would be transitioning to the women's team. This will not be happening this year because NCAA rules say I have to take HRT for a year. I didn't know what any of that was or what any of that meant. But we were told the next season that Will Thomas would be joining the women's team. And again, at this time, still Will Thomas. So Lia was not to be born yet at this point. So we were first announced that, and I kind of felt shocked. I felt a little uncomfortable. But everyone around me looked really happy and excited for this member of the men's team to be living their true self.
All right, so I'm going to stop it here, guys, and I'm going to put the link in the description box down below. So if you want to watch the rest of this, it is like 27 minutes long. But basically, she goes over her whole story on how they had the meeting with Will. She goes on to explain that there was no meeting prior to that with like the team officials to prep the women's team. They just like brought them in a room, sat them down. Will was like, hey, guys, I'm be a teammate next year. And they all were pretty much kind of like, huh, what? And when that time period came back around, as we all know, Will became Lia, and he had like a locker in the women's room, which is crazy. So you had like a whole guy just changing in front of women. He still has his parts. So now you have a naked guy walking around other women who are also supposed to be naked when they're changing, but that's a whole yikes, a whole uncomfortable feeling. I couldn't even imagine. Did you ever play sports? Like when you were younger, high school? Oh man.
Nope, not me.
So you would have never experienced any of this.
No, I had a taste of it when I was in the military, but as a kid, no.
And did they make y'all change together in the military?
Yep, they're like, oh, I don't even want to repeat what the drill sergeant said, but it was hilarious. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, yeah.
So you did have a taste. Oh, yikes. I'm not going to lie to you. So I used to play basketball in like high school and stuff. I used to be uncomfortable because there was like a bunch of gay girls on the team. And I didn't have an issue with them being gay. It was just certain issues, certain situations and scenarios I kind of found myself in the locker room where I'm just like, hey, yo, why is this happening? So I couldn't even imagine a dude butt naked up in there talking about, I'm a girl, look at me, trying to be all on you. It's like, get away from me.
Yeah, it's disgusting what's happening with collegiate sports, but now with high school sports. And that's why I commend these women so much, because coming out publicly this way against Lia Thomas is setting yourself up for immediate backlash and hatred. Yeah. We saw the video of Riley Gaines and what happened when she went to speak at one of these colleges. I forget. I think
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And just that event and what happened there with her, it's just really sick. It's really, really sick, to the point where now everyone is afraid to speak out, and we have who's being hurt by this. It's not those collegiate women who are brave enough to speak out. They're already done. It's the women and girls who are still having to change in locker rooms to this day with boys. And we've already seen stories of boys in high school sexually getting their way, forcing themselves on these teenage girls. That's a sickness. We need to speak out against this.
Yeah. On an abuse level, that's happening, whether people want to have that conversation or not. That's happening. And even outside of that, even if they want to stay on just the competition talk, right? Guys are better than women at sports. It's just due to biology, due to how our bodies are made and their bodies are made. That difference is going to be there. And it's not fair that if a guy sucks amongst his like fellow men, he could just be like, you know what, I'm a girl now. And he could just start breaking records and doing stuff in the women's categories, because that is completely unfair. Because when I played basketball, in my off time, I liked playing with guys because like you're going to get better when you play with other men, because I'm not going to get better playing with other women. So that put me up like competitively when I would go against other girls. But in the grand scheme of things, if I ever had to go against a team and they had like some tranny on their squad, oh, we would have got dominated. It would have been a wrap. And I've seen those videos before in basketball, track. We're seeing it in cycling now, swimming. Like, we're starting to see just all across the board and everything. And it's just completely unfair. And they're taking a spot from a girl. Like a girl that could have been there. And we're talking about college level and scholarships and stuff. Why should a girl get to lose out on the chance of a full ride for a guy just because he couldn't compete with the other men? Like, it's completely unfair.
It's like, it's so infuriating. And it's more infuriating that people aren't caring that much about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they care and they are opposed to it, but the fear of speaking out, the fear of what could happen. And it's like, so because you're afraid of losing something, you're willing to put these young girls in a situation where not only is it an injustice because, like you said, they're losing opportunities to these people who are just in a delusion, and we're just affirming their delusions. So the women are losing opportunities. So feminists, where are you guys at? Actually, the feminists are pretty much speaking out against this, a lot of them. But like I said earlier, the possibilities for abuse that are now opening up, and the way this swimmer, Paula, I think her name was, that we just watched, she talked about one of the girls on her team, feeling brave and wanting to go to the athletic department and have a real conversation about this. And when she came back from that meeting, she was like all in favor. Like, oh, it's fine. We're so happy for it. Like, what happened there? How was she threatened? Or like, what happened there?
Oh, they gaslit her. They gaslit her like crazy. They did that to the whole team, because she even explained how when she wanted to write an article out against it, and the school newspaper just kept changing it so much till they finally decided, they're like, we're not running it. It's like, what do you mean you're not running it? Like, why are y'all so scared to talk about this? Because first off, the whole alphabet community, their population numbers aren't even that big compared to everybody else. So it's like, why are we catering to them so hard? And then also, why are we affirming the delusion? Because now we're at the point where, like, you can literally make one phone call, and they already got template papers set up to be like, oh yeah, you can get the surgery or pills or whatever you're trying to get. Because Matt Walsh, he just exposed them in a video. He had one of his producers call in, pretend, they wanted to get the surgery. They said it took 15 minutes. That is insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And I think they even leaked some footage too about just basically how they're openly admitting it's all about the language that they put in there, and it's for the insurance companies. So they don't really care what your problem is. And that producer ended up going back and saying, actually, I've never been diagnosed with gender dysphoria. And they're like, it's fine. They did not take it out. They didn't update. They just left it in there for insurance purposes so that you could go ahead and get your testicle removal done, which is what they were doing.
It's evil, because there's also therapists that came out like on TikTok videos and stuff and was like, oh, if my patient says they're going through whatever, I approve them within like the 30 minutes we talk. And I'm like, what? This is supposed to be like the way it used to be, right? Years ago, because they don't follow that anymore. You were supposed to go do this for years, right? Because either you were going to get helped by the therapist, or they were just going to affirm it after all those years and be like, okay, we've been doing this for like 5 years now. Ain't nothing changing. We just going to let you have a surgery. Now it's like, okay, great chat for 5 minutes. Here's your paper. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, man, it's awful. You can't even trust the clinical psychological professionals anymore. You really can't.
Let us know, guys, in the comment section down below. Do you believe that trans athletes should have a place on men's and women's teams? Do you think they should have their own league? Do you think we should stop affirming the delusion, right? And just like, nah, y'all can't have nothing, men and women. Or, do you believe trans people are whatever they trying to be? And you affirm it all. You 100% with them. Let us know in the comment section down below. And your comment might get picked for next week. Hey, once the podcast is over and you guys have a minute, go ahead and check out my channel. It's titled It's Your Girl Saying. Basically, I go over life topics, Christianity topics. I live stream every Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. EST. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we do what's called the Conservative Christian Show, where we go over all the topics in culture and we look at it through a Christ-focused perspective. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, I have a show called Christian Game Room, where I'm playing video games, but in between segments or pausing the game or whatever, we're having talks about the Bible. We're having talks about God, right? You guys may even bring things to my attention about what's going on in certain areas of Christianity. We just have nice long discussions about all of it. And if you're into any of that, gaming, culture, Christ, all of it, make sure to check out my channel. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys. So as you may have heard over the past couple days, a streamer, which goes by the name of NickMercs, has been under attack from the LGBTQ community, and he also had one of his operator bundle packs removed from Call of Duty. But what ended up happening is that in Glendale, California, a bunch of parents went out to protest the school boards. I guess they were approving the alphabet community's teachings in the classrooms, and the parents were like, we're done. We're over this. No more. We're protecting our kids. And Antifa came out and fought with them. So there's a bunch of videos that went out. They went viral. You had Antifa, a bunch of white guys fighting a bunch of Armenian dads that are trying to protect their children, which led to the tweets that you see on screen. You had Pucky, who is another gamer. He said, this happened 4 blocks from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love who they love and live your own life, right? Where NickMercs then came in and was like, actually, they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. And because of that sentence right there, Call of Duty was like, oh, really, Nick? All right, well, you're up out of here, my guy. And he had something called an operator bundle that was in their Modern Warfare 2 in the Warzone store. And they got rid of it completely. And he faced some backlash from people that he thought were his friends. He faced backlash from the alphabet community. They said he was being homophobic. I don't know how they got that out of they should leave the little children alone. So what ended up happening, Nick actually went live on, I think he went live on Twitch after that. He explained plainly, he was like, hey, I'm a new father. I have a kid now. And upon thinking about it, he's like, when it comes to these issues, he was like, my wife and I want to be the ones to teach our child that. So he was like, that's why I wrote what I wrote. He was like, I don't have an issue with gay people. He's like, do what you want. I just want you to leave kids out of it. That one sentence alone, they still calling him a homophobe.
It's awful. What a sick world that a father cannot even tell weirdos to back off the kids and stop pushing propaganda in the schools without losing opportunities. It's gross. And Call of Duty, like, the trans people are not your base. Like, they're just not.
They're really not. They're really not. Somebody mentioned, they said, weirdly enough, I guess the past Memorial Day, they wanted to have somebody wanted to have like a Memorial Day like stream because it's Call of Duty, The game itself was like, nah, we're not doing that. But I think they had like something to celebrate Pride or something, or somebody says they have like 100 and something Pride flags in there, which is, it doesn't make sense because it's Call of Duty. Like, if you know back in the day, those game lobbies, like the F word and stuff was being tossed around nonstop. There.
So I don't play Call of Duty anymore. Okay. I lost my touch. I'm really bad at it. I played one time in like maybe a year ago because I was like, I'm going to play Call of Duty. And I got real confident and I went into the hardcore. and I shot my teammate, and he just was so vengeful and angry about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just a mom who doesn't know how to play this game. But yeah, so I just stopped after that. But anyway, yeah, but back in the day, like you mentioned, those lobbies were intense because I actually was really good at Call of Duty. I had it on the computer. I played the first Modern Warfare, first Black Ops, and my favorite ever was World at War. It was so great. The multiplayer was great. The campaign was powerful, amazing, just amazing. And it just blows my mind how far they've fallen. It really has.
I think they're just banking on it because at this point it's like a new game every year. So they're like, you guys will pay for it. You'll buy it.
Which shows you how spineless and how we don't stand up for our values anymore as a nation. We have no values. We just, our values are pride. So I guess there's that, and individualism. And it's like, well, I'm gonna do me. I don't care what abomination is going on. I just care about my own entertainment and satisfaction.
No, I mean, you are right. That's kind of where we are as a nation, which is sad. And I think that's why I'm kind of happy that his friend, so the guy goes by Tim the Tat Man. So I guess him and Nick got their bundle packs at the same time since they're like big streamers. And he was like, this is so weird that they removed him. And he was like, I can't keep mine because we homies. And like we came in at the same time. So he was like, you know what, Call of Duty, remove mine. And they removed his like immediately once he said that. But I'm like, that's a real ride or die friend right there.
Really? Yeah.
The fact that a bunch of other of what he thought was his friends, like dropped him just because he said, leave the kids alone. That's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. You know what? It kind of reminds me, like the thought popped in my head. Have you heard the story of, I think her name is Yeonmi Park. She is a North Korean defector. And she talks about, like, her story is, oh my gosh, insane what those people have gone through. But anyways, and she, in one of her interviews, she talked about the way that the communist regime operated was by instilling such a fear. Okay, let me put it like this, because I remember now that her mother would tell her, be careful what you say because there's birds in the walls or something like that. Like there's people listening.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, so there was like always this inherent, like, no matter who you're talking to, no matter who your friends are, family, does not matter. They are all primed to snitch on you 100%. They are not going to sacrifice themselves for you at all. So the fact that Tat Man was willing to do that, even though it's not like a life or death situation, but even in such a trivial situation like this, that there are still people who are like, we ain't friends. I don't know that guy. He's a homophobe. Like, you know, that's kind of like, we're not even with the communism part yet, which might be coming, but Lord, there's going to be a lot of snitches, a lot.
That is true. What her mom said, you can really apply that to anything. I don't know if you've ever had like friends in your life where now that you're older, you've just learned from experience. You'd be like, you can't tell everybody everything because you don't know what they saying behind your back to somebody else. So they might be smiling in front of your face and y'all just chirping back and forth. And then as soon as you walk away, they be like, I just can't stand Jasmynne. And they just be just running to the next one.
Yeah, I'm grateful that God's removed a lot of those people from my life. So, hey, it's cool.
Yeah. Guys, let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Do you think NickMercs is a homophobe? Do you think Call of Duty was right in removing the operator bundle? Do you agree with Nick? Should they leave our kids alone? Let us know in the comment section down below. And in episode 3, we might just pick your comment. All right, guys, do you believe that the children should be protected like our man NickMercs thinks as well? Go ahead and check out another YouTube channel titled Live Action. Basically, they show you why human life is the most precious life. They're pro-life. They do videos where they try to explain to people why the rights of a baby, okay, is the most important thing in the world. It's not a clump of cells, right? That's the narrative they try to push out there. It's not a clump of cells. It's not an artificial heartbeat sound. All these crazy things that they try to push onto us. Live Action wants to put it out there that these things that the secular world thinks about babies and children are wrong, when in fact pro-life is the most beautiful thing that we've been blessed like to have from our Lord up above. So if you're into stuff like that, or you want to be part of the cause, make sure to go check out Live Action right here on YouTube. The link will be in the description box down below. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 2 of So This Is the World Christian Podcast. I'm Michelle. This is Jasmine. Make sure to hit that description box down below and hit the links so you can check out my channel. It's called It's Your Girl Saying. You can check out her channel. It's called Bold Reflections. And we'll see you guys next time.